Coach. And not a question everybody wants to know about, the quarterback position. We know the last couple of years it's been a musical chairs at that position. So far this spring, and I know it's just the spring, how does that position look and how's it shaping up so far?
Well, I mean, we're going to come out of spring with a quarterback, and I think because we didn't really name a quarterback, it kind of took the expectation away from the guys as they off season and training. We want to come out and say, "You our guy," so that those guys from the time we finish spring ball know that you're the quarterback. We're looking to build things around you. Come in with the expectation that you're leading this team, opposed to waiting till you get here and you don't know if you're going to be the starter or not. And now we invest you with all these responsibilities, and maybe you just weren't prepared for it. So we're going to try a whole different approach to that. But those guys have been competing. Kadarius Davis, Chris Scott. I think all of them in that room, Rocker and all the rest of them that's in that room, DJ Pearson, we will find something offensively where they'll be able to help us. Quarterbacks are the most talented guys on the field. And if you look anywhere in high school, most of those guys playing 3 and 4 positions. So we're going to find a way that as a program we can get the most out of those guys that we have.
That's awesome, Coach. And I believe that is a big thing to let a player know who's leading the team, and not only for him, but also for the rest of the team to know who they need to be looking up to going forward.
Exactly.
So you recently just came out of your first scrimmage. Kind of break down how you think the first scrimmage went, because of course it wasn't going to be what you wanted because it's early in the spring, but how do you think that first scrimmage went?
Well, I thought it went well. It was a back and forth. Offense was able to get some scores, and defense was able to make some adjustments and make some good stops, crucial stops. It was a lot of speed, a lot of guys flying around, it was very physical. One of our goals is to come out of spring more physical. I didn't think that we were tough enough last year. And it seemed like sometimes when we got hit, we just didn't respond by hitting back. So we have developed a lot of drills and scrimmages so that we can be more physical. And I thought that they responded well.
Do the new rules at all kind of about how much tackling, how many days you can go in full pass, how many times a day you can go during the spring? Because it used to be 2 and 3 times a day. Do you think that is a kind of a detriment to today's game, that you're not able to do as much as you used to?
No, and at this level, and mainly at historical black schools, the pattern that they're doing, if you were a smart coach, you normally followed that anyway. We don't have the depth to hit every day. So a lot of that wasn't occurring anyway, because where the other teams have 3 and 4 on the depth chart, we only have 2. So we didn't have the depth to have 2 days of full out scrimmages. So normally you scrimmage, you have that next day off for recovery, you have that next day for corrections, and then you scrimmage again or have some kind of contact. And that's always been the approach since any program that I've been a part of is scrimmage, rest, correct, then scrimmage again. So it's normally about 48 to 72 hours before you have full contact anyway.
Oh, wow. Okay, tomorrow we're going into your second scrimmage. What are some things you're looking to accomplish and or improve on? Because I know the first scrimmage was a total of 48 plays. Are you going into this scrimmage with a restriction?
Same thing. We're banged up in our offensive line, so we got about 7 linemen. So, that's why we kind of scale it back that we have 48 plays, because 4 or 5 of those guys are going all 48 plays. And just to keep from burning those guys out where now all of a sudden they get tired, they lose their technique, they lose their form. We'll break practice, we'll add a little bit more schemes and drills into the practice or the scrimmage so that we can get the most out of our linemen.
Okay, and going into next week is going to be a very exciting week with Fan Week and going into the Black and Gold game. Kind of explain to the fans what they will see at the Black and Gold game and the structure of the game, because it's not a typical football game where you're going to go out there and play 3 quarters. No. So kind of explain what they're going to be able to see.
It's actually going to be for the same reason with our linemen being down. You're going to see the same thing. You're going to see more of a practice. You're going to see some 7-on-7, some 1-on-1s, and then you'll see again 48, and maybe we'll try to get 60 plays out of that scrimmage. But again, it's real basic, real minimum. You're going against each other, so it's not a lot of schematics and things of that. And it's more enjoying your fans and letting your fans get to know your players.
Okay, Coach, we're getting down to the end, and this is just some stuff. you mentioned earlier Titus Howard, who was your All-American offensive lineman. How do you replace a guy like that going into next year?
Well, I mean, you put a guy in this position and tell him he got big shoes to fill. I mean, that's about the closest you're going to get. I mean, Titus has done a remarkable job for our program with all the different accolades that he's received and invitations that he's received to be a part of. That it takes away that old stigma that you can't go to black schools and be noticed. So those are some of the things that he's really helped with this young generation, understanding regardless where you go play, you can be found if the NFL is looking for you, and you can graduate. But for as a team, we've been able to. He had young guys playing behind him, and those young guys know that they have large shoes to fill, and every day they've been responding because they don't want to be the ones that let down that position. And
I remember last year you saying you really played up on the depth that you had across the offensive and defensive linemen, and a lot of those guys didn't get a chance to play last year, so this should be a year that they step up.
This is the year to pay.
Yeah, this you pay your dues.
This is the year you pay your dues. Last year you watched, like I told them, season ticket holders is over for you. It's time for you to get in the game.
Okay, and last question, defensively, who are some players that we should look forward to going into the season?
Well, we was fortunate enough to get Hill-Eley back. Ricky Hill-Eley, he'll be back again for his senior year, and he's been doing a great job with his leadership. Darian Johnson, our middle linebacker, is back. Josh Hill and Jeff Hill is back on that defensive side, along with Nick Terry and Keenan Isaac. So we should be pretty salted defensively.
Okay, so you think defensively you'll be able to step up a lot more than you did last year?
No doubt about it.
All right. Well, Coach, on behalf of WVAS and WVAS Perspective and Coach's Corner, I want to thank you for your time today, and that'll conclude our interview.
Hey, thank you for having us, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right.